Guys, I have a loaded video here for you. We are continuing my Project Coyote swap on my 1968 Mustang Fastback. We're gonna be doing fuel today. We're gonna be doing a drive shaft install, and we're gonna be converting this automatic to manual. Yes, we're going stick shift. We're gonna be adding the man pedal to this car and keeping the manuals alive. So without further ado, let's go ahead and do fuel first, then we'll move on to drive shaft, and then we'll convert the automatic to manual. Those are the three things we're gonna be doing. Today, we are doing the fuel system. We have a full kit brought to you by Aeromotive, which a huge shout out to Aeromotive for sponsoring the build here on the channel. They supplied their full E85 Phantom kit, and yes, we are running E85 here on the classic Fastback with the Coyote swap. It's gonna be very interesting to see E85 fuel go into the classic car, but we're doing it here on the channel, and I have all of the tools and parts we're needing for installation. I did get a brand new tank here, which is recommended by Aeromotive for my car because we're gonna be drilling holes, we're gonna be installing the pump, and it's just recommended to do a fresh new one. So I did get this from Summit Racing. This looks like a sweet gas tank that's gonna be installed. It does have a nice gray primer to it, I believe. If I want it black, I will eventually paint it black there. And then we have the full E85 Phantom kit from Aeromotive once again here. We do have the hat along with all of the installation, the foam, all of the wiring, all of the fuel piping, and everything we need here to do this install. So I am a novice when it comes to doing this full installation, which I've never done fuel ever. Can you believe it? Through my 2008 Mustang GT and my 2014 GT500, I've only done booster pumps and fuel injectors. I've never really ever touched a full-on fuel system like this, including the fuel pump, the fuel tank, the full sending units, the fuel filter, and all of that. So today we're gonna learn together. We're gonna see if we could accomplish this here and get it done. So it looks like the first step is to cut a big old hole into the gas tank. So let's get that going. This is my first time doing it. I really hope I don't mess up. All right, now we're getting into the most nerve-wracking part, and that's cutting into my brand new tank that I got. I did draw it out to where I think is best on it. There were two lowest points on this gas tank that I could have chose from. This is the little template thing that you place down and drill the hole in. So, without really knowing what I'm doing, I'm gonna cut the hole, and we're just gonna hope for the best, okay? I think this is working. I did watch their video online, which is very, very helpful. Aeromotive has all of the instructions, all of the how-tos. I'm basically following that, and this is what they told me to do. So I picked the spot. We're gonna be running it down the driver's end, and then when I cut this out, we'll go about measuring and vacuuming and doing everything else. So without further ado, let's cut a hole in my gas tank. Check this out, perfect hole cut. We stayed within the grooves, which meaning that I cut without having to go on these slants. So the circle is absolutely perfect. I need to vacuum all of this crud out so it doesn't get into my filter or anything. Got a shot vacuum, but so far this looks really, really good. I'm proud of my cutting for my first time, my novice, and to be honest, this was really, really easy. All right, now we have to measure the gas tank from the very bottom to the top here. And if you guys could see, we are at 7 inches. Basically means we need to cut the fuel sending unit down to 6 inches and the sponge to 8 inches. So let's go ahead and get those two cut measurements, and then we should be able to put everything in once when we drill those holes. So I marked 8 inches from the very bottom to the top right here. Now I have a bread knife. This is all I'm gonna be using. You just simply cut this to spec. So let's get to cutting. We got it, 8 inches right here. I was always confused because it has this rubber bottom right here, how fuel gets in, but you actually get sucked in, so it's like a big old sponge that sucks up everything through these holes all around. So we're gonna get the optimal fuel. Now we're gonna save this. We're gonna move on to the spine, measure 6 inches on that one, cut it off, and we should be good to go to put this in after I drill in the holes. All right, so I have 6 inches, which is gonna be this guy right here. I have a Dremel. Hopefully I don't cut my hand off, but if I do, oh well. All right guys, check this out. We have the 6 inches cut by the spine here. I also cut the pickup tube that long as well. Perfect for that return line. Everything is going perfectly so far. And then for the sponge, we have 8 inches right here. So now that we have that, let's finally go ahead and drill down the holes so that we can put the sponge in, put the C-clamp in, and bolt everything together. All right, so I cleaned up the full shavings from the drilling. Now we're gonna take this little piece right here, put it in, and then it has the holes. I don't know if you guys could see that. It has the holes where you piloted it. So it makes things super, super easy whenever you do this. I'm gonna take a drill bit, gonna just drill each and every one of these holes so that we could get ready for this C-clip right here, which is gonna go right underneath and attach everything together. So let me get to drilling on these holes. All right, we got everything cut. We got the sponge cut, we got the spine cut, and we drilled the holes here for the fuel tap. Let me go ahead and show you. I also wire wheeled it so it's nice and smooth for installation. Vacuumed everything as well. Now we need to prep the fuel pump, connect everything together, install the sponge, and then cap off the top. So without further ado, let's head right into that. All right guys, it is the next day because it was getting kind of dark, but I finally pieced together the fuel pump. Very easy. Basically, you connect the pump to this black tube up here, put this little white filter at the bottom, and connect everything and tie it down. Very simple. I didn't know how easy fuel pumps were. This was actually my first time. Now that I have this, we are just gonna drop it right in here, bolt her down, and that is it. That is it to installing the Phantom. Then we do all of the lines, the vents, the return style, the fuel filter, as well as the regulator, and then the fuel rails and the fuel injectors, which we'll do next. But for the most part, this was actually very, very easy and exactly how I want it to be. Now that I got the fuel tank all sorted out with the Air Motive Phantom fuel tank, I still have to weld that closed. However, I'm gonna prep to get this back into the car right here. So essentially, it fits in all those holes, but you see all that rust and crud? I am going to wire wheel that all off so it's a nice, smooth surface, and then do some rust permeative solution on top of it as well. So let me get to clearing out this rear end right here. And check this out. We got the fuel tank here in the fastback with the Air Motive Phantom kit installed. I still have to plumb everything, which is gonna involve me cutting some holes right there, or just anywhere so we could get to the front of the car here. But she's all installed. We have a fuel tank in, and I'm super happy to do that. We've done so much work here in the Classic. I cannot believe it. We're getting one step closer to put in some fuel, plumb it up, get the fuel up, and then after fuel, she's ready to fire up. Guys, we have done so much here with the Classic Fastback, and we are so close, literally so close to completing this. I'm gonna show you what else I got here that makes it just so much more exciting. For the month of August, my goal is to at least crank this motor, and I pretty much have all the pieces minus the plumbing, which I'm gonna finish very, very shortly. But I got a cold air intake for one of my subscribers. Thank you guys so much for always looking out after me. I'm not gonna be running this intake, of course. It's just gonna be for the startup. I also finally found my oil filter housing, which I was taking forever to find, and it fits honestly so perfectly with the full entire setup. As you can see, the oil filter is there good. I do have the serpentine belt as well, which I need a stretch on. It's a stretch to fit. If you guys have any ideas how to stretch to fit this belt, because it's so tight, let me know. But that is it. As soon as I connect my fuel, she's ready to start up. I just have to throw on the control pack, have Peter come over, which he has experience with these motors and is gonna help me to fire this thing up. It's those little things that just delay the project by so much. And I think we're getting a lot of those little pieces sorted so that we could get this thing back up and running. So August, I'm gonna try my best this month for it to go ahead and fire up, at least crank. I just want it to crank. I don't know if it will fire up on the first time, just because we built this thing from the ground up and you never know, but we are so close. I just need to piece this thing together, connect the fuel, and she's gonna go ahead and fire up. Exhaust as well should be super easy. I just connect the exhaust. I have the long tube headers. It's gonna be running open headers with an off-road X pipe. I also have to plumb the radiator, which I need to do very shortly. Should be very easy to plumb this thing. And besides that, we're gonna go raw first startup and see how that goes. Look at what we finally got to complete the puzzle of the drivetrain. We have an aluminum one-piece drive shaft from Precision Shaft Technologies, which is gonna connect and actually is the final piece to connect the drivetrain, the Coyote and the TKX transmission with the John's 9-inch 4-link rear end. Again, huge shout out to Precision Shaft Technologies for sponsoring the ride. They actually hit me up, wanted to be part of the build. Huge respect to them. If you guys ever need a drive shaft, definitely go with them. They have steel, aluminum, and carbon fiber. Of course, you guys see the aluminum drive shaft, which is absolutely stunning. Now, drive shafts is a topic that, at least I don't know too much about. They did provide a little bit of information, so we're gonna go over it. I'm gonna tell you exactly what you may need if you're looking for a drive shaft or just wanting to upgrade, because whenever you do upgrades to your car, like increased horsepower, you're gonna need a new drive shaft. Or if you're doing a project like this and you need a drive shaft to connect everything like I do, you're gonna need a drive shaft as well. So let's go over that here. There's gonna be 3 types of materials you could do with drive shaft, which is gonna be steel, aluminum, and carbon fiber. Steel being the cheapest and the weakest, but recently I believe steel went up, so now steel and aluminum are about the same exact price. And then aluminum comes next, which is gonna be in between carbon fiber and steel in the terms of strength and reliability. This is gonna be good for 1200 horsepower. Very, very nice. And then the strongest and most expensive is, of course, carbon fiber, which can handle up to 5,000 horsepower, but it is also the most expensive, so you're gonna be paying a very, very shiny penny for that. But we have the one-piece aluminum. If you are in the market, definitely hit them up. They did this next day, and they can do this for you guys really quick as well, to as low as a 2-day turnaround time. So get the measurements. It's very easy. You just measure from the drive shaft to your rear end, send it over to them, talk to them on the phone. They're so knowledgeable when it comes to drive shafts. They taught me so much, and I want you guys to learn as well. So hit them up, tell them Nate Ryder sent you, and then they will tell you everything you need for the drive shaft. So now that we have that, let's lift up the car and do the final piece to connect everything here. Drive shaft is pretty easy to install. Literally, you put this into the transmission side, and then there's 2 bolts that connect this flange to the rear end. So let's get her up and get this installed and finally connect the full powertrain. Hey, and check it out here. Got the drive shaft installed pretty easily here. Take a look. It's not angled just quite yet. I still have to do 4% angle in the back, which I need to just verify that here really quick. But we got the measurements good. I'm gonna clean this up, even though you guys will probably never see it ever again. And we got PST. Shout out again, PST, for sponsoring the video. If you guys need any type of drive shafts for your car, if you're increasing horsepower or just need maintenance, or you're doing a project like me, a Coyote Swap Classic on anything, they are the ones for custom drive shafts. Super fast turnaround time, very high quality, super easy to install. I highly recommend them. Thank you guys so much again for sponsoring the build. You're gonna see more of these guys to come in my builds. And just like that, we got the drive shaft all connected, which this is the first time in the longest time, ever since the car was running, that we have one full unit, the full entire drive shaft, from the Coyote to the QuickTime bell housing, TKX transmission, PST, precision shaft, one-piece aluminum drive shaft, and then connected to the John's 9-inch rear end. And that's pretty much the full entire driveline that we have here for my build. I think it's gonna suit everything perfectly. Also, in the 9-inch rear end, we have 373 gears. So very, very popular setup here. And now that we have all of that, let's convert this automatic, which if you guys didn't know, I had a C4 automatic 3-speed transmission on the fastback when it was completely stock with the 289. It was auto, and now we're gonna save the manuals by adding a manual, which I've already done, the 5-speed TKX transmission. I got the final pieces, or at least the second to final piece here, depending on how you look at it, to the transmission, which is gonna be the handle, the Hurst handle with the classic white ball 5-speed. And let's go ahead and get this installed on the TKX transmission. After we do that, let's talk about the next steps. I'm super happy to finally doing my first ever auto to manual conversion, which honestly was not as hard as I thought it was gonna be, but everything's going well so far. And cross my fingers, let's go ahead and put the final piece to the puzzle on my stick shift classic fastback with the Coyote swap. I love saying it, I just love it so much. All right, so we are inside of the classic here, and don't mind the mess, boys. I have been wrenching on this car for 8 straight months. I'm gonna get new carpet, I'm gonna clean this all, but let's just focus on the main thing here, which is gonna be the TKX transmission, which fit perfectly into the fastback with the Coyote swap. And I'm super happy I went through with this particular setup. Again, it's the Coyote with the QuickTime bell housing, and the TKX transmission fits perfectly without having to cut the transmission tunnel. I did cut 1 inch, which I was very impatient for. I did cut 1 inch for it to fit nice so it could go into 3rd gear. Previously, this cut wasn't there and it was not going to 3rd gear, so I just made it fit. But they do make extenders where I could have extended it and not have to cut there. So essentially, we got everything all sorted out. Now, all we have to do is simply just put the Hurst Shifter right there. So let me actually just put you guys right there. So we also have the cover here for the stick shift, and essentially just put it right inside. Make sure it's covered like that, and then slip this guy right in. It just takes 2 bolts. I never really thought of how easy it was, but it's very, very easy to get this all complete. Now you just bolt this down, and then you bolt down this cover right here, and then we'll have a 6-speed or a 5-speed. Everybody's like, oh, why don't you get a 6-speed? I mean, 6-speeds are too big, they're too large. I would have had to have cut my transmission tunnel, which is not something I wanted to do. So I kept it very, very simple. Flip this around, put this more down, perfect. So that's why I didn't go 6-speed. 6 speeds are just too large. I had the MT82. I don't know if you guys ever recalled. I ended up selling the MT82, which so happy I did. I did not know too much about the MT82 until recently, where they are just glass, transmission made out of glass. And they always blow up. Probably one of the worst transmissions Ford has ever introduced to the Mustangs here. So got rid of the MT82, got the TKX transmission. TKX is good up to 600 foot-pounds of torque. They always underrate those, so definitely probably good for 700, 800 or so. So looking forward to that. But simple as that. I am going to bolt this down a little bit later just in case I have to fiddle with this. I'm not going to bolt it down just quite yet, but look at this. We now have a 5-speed transmission. I don't want to shift it too much without the fluids inside the transmission yet, but check that out. We got the 5-speed. I do need the manual pedals. The brake and the manual pedals are coming from Willwood and Modern Driveline, so I still need to do that, along with my throttle I have from the Ford Performance Control Pack. But there you go, ladies and gents. We got the final piece to my manual transmission. Now I have a manual car, and I'm super excited. I did my first ever automatic to manual transmission. This is dope. I love it so much. Cannot wait to bang gears in this Coyote swap. Oh my gosh, this POV is getting better and better every single time I step foot. Sometimes I just literally sit in the car and just imagine how far I've come into this, and this full driving experience right here, it's mint. I love it so much. Guys, we are almost to the finish line. We've gone so far, and I am just itching to get this car started. Very, very shortly, I'm gonna be finishing fuel, the full clutch assembly, all the little things that you guys probably don't wanna see, but it's a necessity to get this running. I'm still gonna end up showing in videos, but this month, the month of August, I will make it my goal to at least get this cranking. So, next week, I'm going hard with Bryce. We're really going to spend all the hours needed to get those little things done. And then we're gonna go ahead and do the unveil video, hopefully start it up, get it on the street, and get driving. So that is all we have here today. Jam-packed video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Stay tuned for more to come. Subscribe if you still have not. Trust me, you're gonna wanna join the ride here with the Fastback. So see you guys on the next one. Have a good day.